Jesus had called his first disciples by the shore of Galilee. They had left their nets and their boats to follow him, and now they traveled together to a wedding feast in a small village called Cana. There, among the celebration, Jesus would perform his first miracle and reveal his glory. Cana was a village in the hills of Galilee, not far from Nazareth. A wedding was in progress. In that culture, weddings were not single-day events. They were celebrations that lasted for days, sometimes an entire week. Families saved for years. The whole village was invited. Food and wine flowed freely. The groom's family was responsible for the feast. To run out of provisions would bring shame. Hospitality was sacred. Jesus was invited, along with his disciples, and his mother Mary was there. We do not know whose wedding it was. Perhaps a relative, perhaps a family friend. What we know is that Mary was present, that Jesus came with his new followers, and that something unexpected happened. The wine ran out. For a modern reader, this might seem like a minor inconvenience. For a first-century Jewish family, it was a disaster. The celebration was not over. The guests were still present, and there was nothing left to offer them. Mary came to Jesus. "They have no more wine." The statement was simple, but it carried an unspoken expectation. Mary knew something about her son. Perhaps she had treasured it since his birth. Perhaps she sensed that his time of hiddenness was ending. She looked to him for help. Jesus' response was strange. "Woman, why do you involve me? My hour has not yet come." The word woman was not disrespectful in that culture. It was a formal address, almost tender, but the question created distance. "Why do you involve me?" Jesus operated on a different timeline. His hour referred to something far greater than this wedding. Throughout John's Gospel, the hour would point towards his death and resurrection, the moment when his glory would be fully revealed. Every miracle before that hour was a preview, a sign pointing forward. That hour had not yet come, but a sign could be given, and yet Mary did not retreat. She turned to the servants. "Do whatever he tells you, whatever he tells you." Mary did not know what Jesus would do, but she trusted him to do something, and she gave the servants complete authority to obey his instructions. Nearby stood 6 stone water jars, the kind used by the Jews for ceremonial washing. Each jar held between 20 and 30 gallons. Jesus said to the servants, "Fill the jars with water." They obeyed. They filled the jars to the brim. "Now draw some out and take it to the master of the banquet." They did so. When the master of the banquet tasted the water, it had become wine. He did not know where it had come from, though the servants who had drawn the water knew. He called the bridegroom aside. "Everyone brings out the choice wine first, and then the cheaper wine after the guests have had too much to drink. But you have saved the best till now, the best wine. Not water pretending to be wine, not a thin, inferior substitute, the finest wine the master had ever tasted. And there was an abundance of it, over 100 gallons, enough to supply the feast for the remaining days." This was the first of the signs through which Jesus revealed his glory. John calls it a sign, not merely a miracle. Signs in John's Gospel are not just displays of power. They are revelations of identity. They point beyond themselves to show who Jesus is. Water into wine was not just a rescue of an embarrassed family. It was a declaration. The one who could transform water into wine was the one who could transform everything. The servants knew. The disciples knew. Mary knew. The guests drank and celebrated, unaware that a miracle had just occurred in their midst. What did this sign mean? On the surface, it was an act of compassion. Jesus rescued a family from shame. He preserved the joy of a wedding feast. He cared about ordinary human celebrations. But beneath the surface, there was more. Water for ceremonial washing became wine for celebration. The old rituals of purification gave way to the new wine of the kingdom. The stone jars of Judaism were filled with something far richer, and there was abundance. Not just enough wine, far more than needed, a sign of the overflowing generosity of God. The hour had not yet come, but this first sign pointed towards it. Jesus revealed his glory, and his disciples believed in him. They left Cana and went down to Capernaum with his mother and brothers and his disciples. There they stayed for a few days. The ministry was beginning. The signs were starting. The glory was being unveiled. One step at a time, water into wine. The best saved for last. A preview of the wedding feast that awaits at the end of all things, when the bridegroom returns and the celebration never ends. Thank you for listening to this episode of Life of Jesus, Early Life and Galilean Ministry. If this story of the wedding at Cana moved you, please subscribe, like, and share. In the next episode, Jesus will begin teaching and healing in the villages of Galilee. Crowds will gather, the sick will come, and the kingdom of heaven will break into ordinary life with extraordinary power.